With that, however, let's cross to Qaanitah, who joins us live from the doorstep of the seat of government in Pretoria. The visit ultimately very important. We've just been discussing the significance of why it matters so much as well. Qaanitah, won't you just outlay some of the proceedings of the day, the anticipated discussions as well?
Well, Arabile, it's not going to be pomp and ceremony as expected for state visits. This is a working visit, meaning once Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrives here at the Union buildings, it will be straight to business. There's a lot to discuss. The two leaders will meet in front of cameras. There will be some opening remarks and some exchange of pleasantries between the different delegations from the Ukrainian side as well as from the South African side. They will then have a closed-door session. That's an important one because while the presidency says that there will be discussions around collaboration on trade, on education, agriculture, for example, the business of the day is about peace in the Ukraine. And obviously, these discussions here that will take place at the Union building does not happen in a vacuum. It happens at a time where important talks to end the Ukrainian war in London were downgraded at the 11th hour yesterday. We also heard from US President Donald Trump, who essentially has given Zelensky an ultimatum. So what is happening globally obviously impacts what happens here. And the question is, why is South Africa so confident that it can do what the rest of the world has failed to do so far?
Yeah, and that becomes the interesting part, indeed, and that's what we had spoken to Crispin Apiri about, just how South Africa can effect change then in that invasion of Ukraine by Russia here as well then. Qaanitah, is there a sense then from those that you perhaps have spoken to, from the South African delegation indeed, that this also heightens South Africa's standing in the global geopolitics sphere?
Well, the presidency has long maintained that it is well positioned to bring the two sides to the table because it has an ear with Russian President Vladimir Putin and has access to Zelensky. And so that's why President Cyril Ramaphosa has long maintained that he is in prime position to bring these two sides to the table, as well as reflecting on South Africa's own experience with negotiations. Now, the question is at the moment, the deal that's actually on the table and the leverage that is had by the US involves Zelensky conceding the parts of Crimea that Russia had invaded in 2016. And so this is what prompted US President Donald Trump to say that Zelensky is acting unreasonably and that the prolonged war in Ukraine is because of his inability to want to negotiate and make some concessions. So it'll be interesting to see what Ramaphosa's input would be on that, and particularly what is Zelensky's sort of mood and receptiveness to making concessions as the pressure on him mounts to come to the negotiating table and to concede. But he says that they cannot make concessions to Russia without fundamental reform and without Russia giving up what Ukraine calls its colonialist tendencies.